What up, Raffalitos? Welcome back to my channel. We're back in Timeri at the Cheddi Jagan International Airport, and we want to take a look at this hotel, the Courtyard Marriott, here on the complex of the Cheddi Jagan International Airport. Last time we were here was 3 months ago. This Marriott hotel was just being constructed. We're approaching again from the airport exit. Straight ahead is the Welcome to Guyana monument. This is looking east at the new construction. That's a new building that they're building for the vendors here at Timeri. You're going to see that later on. And that's Camp Stevenson. Camp Stevenson is the military base here at Timeri, and at this point it's exactly opposite this new Courtyard by Marriott. As you can see, this is the Welcome to Guyana sign that you see when you leave the airport complex. As you leave the arrivals area and you exit the airport, you encounter this Welcome to Guyana monument, and it's located in the center of a traffic circle here at the exit. And that's the road leading out of the exit. And straight ahead, you can see the Courtyard by Marriott. What is interesting is this: last time I looked at this billboard, they had Quinjian Group. Now they've added Basu Construction. This is a local company that builds housing developments in Houston. They have been added to the billboard here, and so apparently Basu is going to be helping with the finishing touches on the Courtyard Marriott. I don't know exactly what they're employed to do, but this is what the Marriott looks like in December 1st, 2024. Yeah, straight ahead, that is the tower, the control tower here at Timeri Airport, and it's exactly north of the Marriott Hotel. This is the exit route out of the airport, and also straight ahead north is the jetway. That's the new jetway at Cheddi Jagan International Airport. It's been built over the last 2 years and is now operational. So exactly east of that jetway is the arrivals area, arrival terminal, the part of the airport where you exit from, and you can see it's walking distance to the Courtyard Marriott Hotel. So that's the location of the hotel on the airport complex relative to the structures that already exist. So what have they done since the last time we were here? It seems as if they have now completed the exterior structure of this hotel. Now the thing that's changed is they've put up these scaffolding, which means they're probably sealing the cracks and painting the facade, probably applying a primer at this point to the concrete structure and the final colors. And on the roof there you can see the four workers still working on the hotel. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon here. It's a Saturday afternoon here in Timeri. I don't know why my camera is not focusing. These videos seem to be recorded in slow motion, so for the next couple of videos I'm going to show you a slow motion version. This was not by choice, it was completely by accident, but I guess it allows me to slow down and talk about this in a voiceover instead of on the fly, which I normally do and which I normally prefer. But here you can see the up close, the facade of the hotel is still covered with scaffolding, and there are workmen working on sealing the cracks in the concrete. Remember last time I was here about 3 months ago, I noted that there were cracks, jagged cracks in the concrete, which is probably normal for a concrete structure in the process of building it. And so they normally have to seal those cracks and then paint it, which is what I suppose is happening right now. They started painting. Remember the last time I was here 3 months ago, they also started painting. They haven't made a whole lot of progress in the painting, but they certainly have added scaffolding all around the hotel, which means that they're probably now going to focus on painting the entire structure. I'm going to take a walk all the way around the hotel and explain for you what are some of the burning issues that have been raised in the last time since I was here. This is looking west at the sun. Good thing about coming out here on a Saturday afternoon at 5, between 4 and 5 in the afternoon, is you can see the directions clearly. It's very difficult to tell which direction you're looking at when the sun is exactly overhead, but now in the afternoon we're looking west, which means that's the westerly direction, and the airport is actually located east of this location, and north of it is the tarmac. The tarmac runs from east to west, or northeast to southwest. All right, so here we are on the southern side of the Courtyard by Marriott, and we're walking along this road, the perimeter road for the airport. To our right would be the Army base, Camp Stevenson's Army Air Base, and straight ahead, that's where the barracks are, where the soldiers live. What we noted in the past is that this used to be a U.S. Army Air Base during the Second World War. So the U.S. had military bases all over the world. This was one that was located here in Guyana, and currently the U.S. military does joint operations with the Guyana Defense Force, and this is where they stay at Camp Stevenson, right here at Timehri Airport. So it's actually interesting to note that there's a military base nearby, and this airport during times of war would probably be put to military use. But here we are. This is the Marriott, Courtyard by Marriott. There are 3 Marriott hotels being constructed at this point, at this time in Guyana. There is this Courtyard Marriott here at Timehri International Airport, or Cheddi Jagan International Airport. There is the AC Marriott being constructed at Ogle Airport, or Eugene F. Correa Airport, and there's a Georgetown Marriott, which is located in Kingston. People have asked me, what is the cost of construction of these hotels? And I'm going to attempt to give you the cost in this video. So this is the final stages of construction of the Courtyard Marriott here at Cheddi Jagan International Airport. When this hotel was first announced about 5 years ago, or maybe a little less than 5 years ago, the papers declared it was going to be a $20 million investment, $20 million airport, and that half of the funding was coming from the IDB Development Bank. However, I think that is not an accurate figure. It's very difficult to get accurate figures now on the cost of construction of airports. So what I did is I Googled it and tried to get cost breakdown. It turns out that an AI-assisted Google search says that this airport, this particular hotel, is expected to cost $98 million by the time it's completed. So that's rounded off at $100 million. So this is $100 million investment, right? So by the time it's completed, when you account for all of the construction costs and the furnishings, as well as all of the costs, the interest payments during the period of construction, it's going to be $100 million. Here we're looking at the south side. As you can see, there is a grid pattern on the wall. Last time I was here, this wall was clear, was clean. So when I saw this grid pattern, led me to speculate that they might be adding some kind of facade, maybe a tile facade to the outside, or maybe it's just part of the reinforced concrete structure. So maybe they're going to add a layer of cement, right? A layer of concrete over this grid. Seems like a metal grid against the wall. That's not really part of the, or doesn't seem to be part of the scaffolding. But we'll come back within a few months to see how this turns out. It seems as if they're adding finishing touches to the outer wall of the hotel and conducting the sealing and painting of the surface, the outer surface. They started applying paint on the other side, which we will see by the time we complete our circuit, complete our go around of this airport. Here you can see the outer fence, that is the wall around the compound. It's a high gray concrete barrier, and it certainly wraps around this southern and western side of the building, and it hides behind it the physical plant. So behind this wall and between the hotel, right, the side of the hotel that we can see, and inside the compound is a physical plant. That's probably where they have their water treatment facility, the water purification system, their air conditioning units for cooling and heating, the gas supply for the kitchen. They're probably part of the physical plant, have their backup generators. So all of this has to be accommodated in this space behind the hotel as we come around on the western side, right? This is the side facing the sun right now at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You can see there's scaffolding all along the side of the building, and there are workmen out there working on the side of the building, probably adding final touches to the concrete, priming it for paint, maybe putting on the primer. So that's where we are in the phase of construction of this $100 million hotel, Courtyard Marriott, here at Cheddi Jagan International Airport. Like I said, this physical plant that is located behind the wall is largely completed, because the last time we were here, they were still working on the physical plant. You could see dozens of workmen inside the fence the last time I was here. Now it seems that all of the physical plant facilities, like the heating and cooling, water purification, energy, that is power generation, and AC units have been installed. So that represents a significant progress. It means that largely the biggest part of the construction process has been completed. It seems to me that what they're doing right now is working on the finishing touches on the facade and paint and so on. So that's what's happening here. This is the western side of the building. Like I said, this is one of 3 hotels, right? And I haven't been following the cost of construction closely, or the owners of the hotel, the investors who built these hotels, but that information is thankfully available now on the internet. So if you want to have investigate who the owners are, it's possible now by simple Google search to get, to sort of scrape that information off of documents that have been published and made public. So a lot of AI tools are available to do that. And when I did a search for this, I was able to find out that it probably will cost about $98 million, which I've rounded off to $100 million to build this hotel by the time it's completed. But it also led me to investigate what it would cost to build the AC Marriott. When the AC Marriott hotel was announced, I think they said it was going to be a $50 million hotel, which is kind of interesting, because when this hotel, this particular Courtyard Marriott, was first announced, they said it would be a $20 million hotel. And it seems as if this one is about the same size or bigger than the AC Marriott at Ogle, and that one in the newspaper said it was a $50 million hotel. However, based on the calculations from Google, it turns out that 150 room hotel, which is what these hotels are right now. This is about 150 rooms. The AC Marriott is probably about 150 rooms. These hotels cost about 100 million, 98 to 100 million, between 50 and 100 million dollars to build, 100 million US dollars to build. So that's the kind of investment that we're looking at here at Timeri and at Ogo, right? And if you recall, recently Mr. Jagan was trying to sell the Georgetown Marriott, and they had agreed on a sale price of $85 million. I think they had put it up for bid, and the highest bid that they accepted was $85 million for the Georgetown Marriott. And that deal fell through. It wasn't sold, so the hotel is probably still available for sale, although I don't know if they've pulled it off the market. But the point is that these three hotels together are running about 300 million US dollars, right? So I said I would discuss in this video the price or the cost of building these hotels. It turns out that current cost estimates put this hotel, the Courtyard Marriott, at around $100 million, $98 million to build, and the AC Marriott at Ogo, when it's finished construction, it's furnished and open for business, when everything has been completed, I would expect that to be around $100 million as well, even though the initial estimates were that it was going to cost $50 million. That is, in fact, probably didn't include all of the cost of construction, right? So a more reasonable estimate would be that this hotel is $100 million. The AC Marriott probably costs about $100 million by the time everything is completed and the hotel is opening on opening day, right? And that the Georgetown Marriott, even though it probably costs a lot less to build, right now it's on sale for $85 million, which is probably a good deal. In fact, by the end of this year, maybe in 2025, it probably would be worth over $100 million if it were put back on sale. So that is the numbers we're looking at. Here we are at the back entrance to the hotel. All right, we're looking across the street at the fuel depot. That's like the gas station here at the airport. It's supplied gas for these aircrafts is supplied by this Trinidad company, and they provide the aircraft fuel, and the fuel to operate all of the vehicles on the Timeri Airport, the Cheddi Jagan Airport complex, and that's located on the west side. You can see the sun in the background there. That means we were looking west. Also behind the fence is the aerodrome. This is the aircraft hangar. This is an old aircraft hangar. This somehow looks a little different this time than the last time I was here. This aircraft hangar seems to be under renovation, which is important to note because right now the government has announced that they will build a brand new terminal. Remember in the last set of videos I made when I was here at Timeri at Cheddi Jagan Airport, I actually spoke to the camera and said that my opinion is that this airport terminal should be torn down, should be demolished, and a brand new terminal should be built. Well, since then, the government has announced that they will be building a brand new terminal here at Timeri. So I expect that will be Terminal 2. I don't know exactly where it will be located, but anywhere behind this fence and probably in the location of this hangar, they're probably going to build that new airport terminal building. So that's looking north now towards the control tower, and as you turn around, you'll see this is the entrance to the back entrance, the service entrance to the hotel. This part of the hotel seems to be completed. The fence, the wall have been completed, and you can see all of the structures are nearly completed too, right? This is the back end of the hotel, and from this location I would say this is the loading zone, the dock where most of the produce and the service services for the hotel are brought. And you can see this is where the physical plant is located. Like I said, all of those structures behind the hotel that provide gas and electricity backup generation, that provide water purification for the showers and the bathroom facilities and the toilets and the sinks. All that is processed. The water for that is processed here in the physical plant. Water purification and pressurization and so on has to be done on site here in the physical plant. They're probably providing backup generation, cooling and heating and all that stuff in the physical plant. So that is what has been completed, or at least appears to have been completed down here at the the west facing side of the building. As we move around, you can now see the north side of the building, right? That the small end of the building, the narrow cross section of the building, that is facing north. So that's the physical plant. We can see all of the structures in the physical plant area. All those shiny cylinders on the roof probably provide for the cooling part of the cooling system. All right, I think sometimes they use evaporative cooling. So they have like a water tower that allows them to use evaporation to cool the air, and then they pump the cold air through the building. There are also compressors and so on that are part of the cooling system. But this is part of the physical plant, and you can see all of that seems to be completed and ready to go. The scaffolding on the side of the building still tells me that they're working on the finishing touches. They're probably going to paint this by the time we get back. They're going to put in all of the glass and doors and so on, security features on the building in the near future, because that's where construction seems to be at this point. So from my observation at this point, it seems as if they have at least another 3 months, sometime in the first half, maybe the end of the first quarter of 2025, they should complete the construction of this Marriott hotel, Courtyard Marriott, here at Cheddi Jagan International Airport. And based on my research, I think the cost is probably going to be around $100 million by the time it's completed. The other question that is interesting to ask and people want to know is, what is the cost? How much will it cost to stay per night to stay at these hotels? It turns out that right now the cost of staying at the Georgetown Marriott Hotel in Kingston is around $600 per night. And I think the reason why the price is so high is because, of course, there are very few rooms of that quality, right? There are very few luxury hotels in Guyana. And certainly these two new Marriott hotels will only bring the total to 3 Marriott hotels. So if it's $600 per night when there is only 1 Marriott hotel available, remember that hotel is completely booked out all year, because a lot of the people who stay there are from the business travelers for ExxonMobil. This hotel will probably add to the number of rooms available at that level. And so I expect the price will go down as the supply goes up, room supply goes up. As you can see here, there are a few guys working on the roof. I just wanted to zoom in and see, but my focus is not working as well as I thought it should, maybe because it's in slow motion. So there are some guys working on the roof of the Marriott Hotel, and they're being lowered in one of those trays, motorized lifts, probably inspecting the side of the building this afternoon. And they're still at work. So what I'm saying is that I expect that by adding these new hotels to the market, the price of a room should go down, because supply and demand. If you increase the supply, hopefully it will meet the demand, unless demand continues to increase, which it probably will for the next few years. However, there are about 10 new hotels, luxury hotels or mid-luxury hotels being built in Guyana, and that should eventually begin to bring down the price of a room. So right now it's about $600 per night to stay at the Marriott Hotel in Kingston, and it's about $400 a night to stay at the Best Western in Georgetown. That is the new Aden by Best Western in Georgetown, and it's about $500 per night, a little over $500 per night to stay at the Pegasus Suites. So I didn't mention the Pegasus Suites. The cost of building the Pegasus Suites and the cost of building the Best Western are also different. I should add that to the discussion. I'll get back to that right now after I'm finished talking about the cost per night. So the question is, what would it cost to stay here per night? People have asked me, what will it cost to spend a night here at the Courtyard Marriott at Timeri, that is Cheddi Jagan International Airport? I would think that it's probably going to be around the same price as the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown, which currently sits at about $600 per night. But once the AC Marriott is completed at Ogle Airport and this Courtyard Marriott is completed here at Cheddi Jagan International Airport, I would expect the price to begin to come down, although the full impact of having 10 new hotels instead of just 1 or 2 or 3 is what will be needed to bring down the price. In other words, you need a glut of hotel rooms on the market before you begin to put a dent in occupancy, right? Because the reason why the Marriott Hotel in Kingston can charge $600 a night is because they have 100% occupancy all year, right? They have more people wanting to stay at the Marriott than there are rooms. So hopefully the price will come down below $600 a night. I would say maybe half of that. Eventually the price would settle around $300 per night for hotel rooms until all the hotels are being built. So I also did an investigation of the price of the hotels in Georgetown. That is the price of constructing the Marriott Hotel in Kingston. The Marriott, like I said, is being sold for $85 million, but the price of constructing the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, that one, it turned out, is about $100 million as well. So the extension to the old Pegasus, the new Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, add about 150 rooms to the Pegasus, and turns out that the construction cost was probably somewhere around $100 million US. Of course, Robert Badal and his group of investors were able to fund the construction of the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, so that was private funding, and they're probably going to get their return on investment over the next decade or so. But the reason why the price, the hotel is so expensive is, of course, because a lot of labor is still imported, and I think during the pandemic the price of steel went up, although Robert Badal and his group started constructing that hotel before the pandemic, so they were able to probably get the lower price on things like construction materials and steel and so on. These new hotels that are being built are going to face the full price of the cost of steel and so on. So the problem is that the hotel prices construction is probably going to keep going up, and hopefully we will get a completion of at least 7 new hotels by the time this period of construction is completed, and you'll probably be able to get a hotel room at that time for about what you would pay in Trinidad or Barbados for similar brand hotels. Here we're heading towards the tarmac. We're going to take a look at this aircraft there's an aircraft now taking off. I think it's landing. An American Airlines jet is just arriving and probably will pull up to the terminal in a few minutes, but that's an American Airlines jet. Oh, it's a Caribbean Airlines jet just landing and heading towards the terminal. That was Caribbean Airlines jet just landing and heading towards the terminal. I think an American Airlines jet arrived afterwards. But yeah, like I was saying, the cost of construction of these hotels is probably going to be affected by the rising price of steel and so on. And I investigated the cost. As you know, in the newspapers, they published that the Eden by Best Western would cost about $15 million to construct. But if you actually did a search on the internet for the cost of construction of the Eden by Best Western, it turns out that the cost actually amounts to more around $50 million. So the cost of construction of the new Eden by Best Western, after it's furnished and completed and so on, that one works out to be about 50 million US dollars. Of course, now it's completed and open, they can start recouping the cost, but usually during the period of construction you have to add the cost of interest on the loans, you have to add the cost of construction materials, which keeps changing even during the period of construction, and so on. So yeah, these hotels cost between 100 million, between 50 million and 100 million to build, and there are about seven of them under construction, which will bring the total to 10 new hotels by the time this construction period is over. Now this is the jetway. We're looking at the western end of the airport. This jetway was built about 2 or 3 years ago. It's been completed now and it's now fully operational. So these facilities, the new jetway facilities, are already in use, completed and operational. There you can see the tail of the American Airlines jet that is already at the terminal. I think that one is about to take off. It's probably going to leave at 5 this afternoon. And the Caribbean Airlines jet that just arrived, just landed, is probably going to taxi up to the terminal building in a few minutes. But this is the western end. You can see that is the new jetway that takes you, the bridges that connect you to the aircrafts, provides us a number of new connections. This is looking back at the Marriott, the Courtyard by Marriott. Now we're looking at the north end of the building. And once they take down this fence, I suppose in the next 3 months, sometime in the first quarter of next year, you'll be able to see the full extent of this structure and all its magnificence and all its glory. But right now the hotel is about 3 months away, I don't know, maybe more, from completion. If you think it's probably going to take longer, in fact, in the comments below, tell me what you think the construction schedule is like for this hotel, whether you think it's going to be completed, because right now I think it's beyond completion date. This hotel was supposed to be completed in 2023 and we're now at the end of 2024, so they're about a year already behind schedule. But tell me what you think in the comments below. What do you think? When do you think this hotel is going to be completed? Do you think it's going to be ready for operation? When it's going to be opening day? Leave a comment below, tell me what you think that day will be. As you can see, they started painting the northern end, the building. The final colors, based on the poster that was put up initially, I think was beige and gray, like a blue-gray color. And that beige color looks like one of the final colors in the picture that they first published on the billboard, right, the poster. But this is the northern end of the Courtyard by Marriott, and when it's completed, it's going to add 150 rooms of hotel rooms to the pool of hotels in Guyana. And like I said, there are a number of other hotels being built. There's Pasha Global 5-star hotel and resort. That one is also estimated to cost about 100 million US dollars. And we'll add another 150 rooms. There is the Sheraton, 4 Points by Sheraton in Houston. Right, this is also the Houston area is going to add 150 rooms, and that is also expected to cost about 100 million, between 50 and 100 million dollars to build. That's a tower, the control tower here at Mary Airport. I don't know if there are any plans to renew, to refurbish, maybe to rebuild this control tower, but these control towers now, control towers are now being built with really unique architecture, and hopefully we'll see, once they decide to build a new airport terminal and modernize this airport, maybe they'll see a new control tower. This was one of the first aircrafts from the Guyana Airways Corporation. Remember, the Guyana once had an airline. This is one of the aircrafts I remember riding in, the Guyana Airways aircraft in the 1970s, I believe. One of my first trips outside Guyana to Trinidad was in one of these turbopropeller aircrafts, a turboprop. And so this was what Guyana Airways aircraft from the 1970s and 1980s until the time it went out of business, which is reminiscent of the history of aircraft here in Guyana. I remember, yes, climbing on board of one of these aircrafts way back in my preteen years. I was about 8 years old when I first started traveling internationally. So this hopefully will come back again. The problem, of course, with the rebuilding in the aircraft industry in Guyana is because that we don't have our own refinery. I think I've addressed that in previous videos, that before it makes sense to build an aircraft industry, that is airline industry in Guyana, we have to have a reliable source of fuel, and the only way to compete is to either own your own refinery or have investment in a refinery, right? Airlines like Delta Airways and American Airlines, they actually own a portion of the refinery in New Jersey, and that guarantees the price of fuel throughout the year. And you can't really compete in the airline industry if you don't have Guyanese, if you don't have guaranteed fuel prices, if we don't have Guyanese owned oil refineries. I remember attending some of the meetings on the decision to build oil refineries in Guyana when ExxonMobil was advising the Guyana government against oil refineries. I thought it was pretty short-sighted, because if you are going to have a viable and competitive airline industry in Guyana, and because we are located in South America at this particularly advantageous point on the continent to have a hub here, you have to have refining capacity. We don't have to build our own refineries, but we do need to own refineries. If we can buy a refinery, perhaps in St. Croix or the British Virgin Islands or wherever there are refineries, we can buy one of those refineries and operate it, or we can invest in ownership in part of the refinery system around the world. Here is where the visit of the Indian Prime Minister comes in, right? I'm going to talk in the next 2 videos about the visit of Narendra Modi to Guyana in the last week or so, and that's a strategic alliance that Guyana has to maintain, particularly because India has refineries, oil refineries. But I'm going to talk about that in a future video, right? What is the value of a strategic alliance between Guyana and India? And right now it's looking like oil refineries are perhaps the most important investment partnership that India can provide with Guyana. If we can get access to oil refineries, and we can do so by investing in Indian refineries, then that would guarantee us the price of oil. We can refine our own oil which we produce, and we can guarantee the price of jet fuel, and that would mean we can operate a stable airline industry. But that's the consideration. Like I said, I'm working on starting my own airline industry, so these are the considerations that I have to work on, I have to thinking about as part of the process of planning for building an airline. But here we are at Cheddi Jagan International Airport, talking about the new hotel, new Marriott hotel, and the implications. We said, for example, that the price of a room will come down once these hotels are completed. Not just this hotel, the Courtyard Marriott here at Cheddi Jagan International Airport, but also the AC Marriott at Ogle Airport. Then there's Pasha Global, another $100 million investment. There's a Four Points Hotel, which is another $100 million investment there in Houston. And then there is the Assets Group from Qatar that is building a new Hilton Hotel resort. It's called the Seaside Resort Complex at Carifesta Avenue. Remember, they are now turning the old GNS, Guyana National Service ground, and St. Stanislaus ground into the construction site for a new Hilton Hotel being built by the Assets Group from Qatar. That's another, I think, $250 million investment, and they're going to provide another 250 hotel rooms. It is once all of these hotels are completed, right? 7 new hotels, 10 of them in total, then we can begin to see a dent in the price per room, right? The price per night to stay at one of these hotels, like the Marriott here at Cheddi Jagan International Airport. And at that point, I think once you have these 10 new hotels that are being operated, you can expect the price per room, price per night to come down to maybe around $300 per night, from where it sits right now at $600 per night, $500 per night at $600 per night at the Marriott in Kingston, $500 per night at the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, and about $400 per night at the new Eden by Best Western. Here you can see the jet from Caribbean Airlines has just arrived. It's now at the terminal and probably beginning their disembarkation routine. But that's a jet that just landed. We saw it's coming on the tarmac, on the runway, and within 5 minutes they're at the terminal building. Like I said, the government is going to now build a Terminal 2. There's going to be a brand new terminal, which is what I said in the last video 3 months ago when I visited Cheddi Jagan International Airport, that it is important to build a airport terminal that represents the period of development that Guyana is experiencing. So we're at the period of development where we're the fastest growing economy in the world, and this is a time when we ought to be able to impress the world with the kind of architecture that we're capable of building. That means that we need to hire an architect like maybe Santiago Calatrava, the architect who constructed the Oculus at the World Trade Center. Remember, the World Trade Center, Oculus was built as a transportation hub and as kind of public architecture. And that is the kind of impressive, inspiring architectural structure that you need to build for an airport. So hopefully the government will find someone of international stature like a Santiago Calatrava to design the new airport terminal for Timehri International Airport. And they probably should demolish what they're building right now, which is in fact dark and claustrophobic, and really build something that is of the standard of international airports around the world. But again, eventually we'll probably see what that looks like. People have complained that I'm criticizing. The reason why I'm criticizing what we have is because it really doesn't meet international standards. And the reason why you need to criticize stuff that doesn't meet international standards is not because you don't want to see it build, which is the incorrect conclusion that some people have been drawing. It's not that we want the government to stop building. We want the government to spend our money, taxpayers' money, in an efficient way that builds high quality structures, infrastructure that will last. When you build poor quality infrastructure, people die, right? So this is something I find that people have difficulty understanding. The reason why I criticize the roads, the road construction in a number of videos in the past is because when you don't build proper roads, when you don't design the roads for safety, people die. You get a lot more accidents, a lot more fatal accidents, and we're beginning to see that right now with half a dozen sand trucks have caused fatal accidents on the road. And people are saying, well, it's because the drivers are not experienced, or the drivers don't know how to drive, or the drivers stole their license and all that stuff. It really is not about the drivers. It is about the roads. The design of the roads is not safe. These roads have not been designed for safety, right? So a lot of the criticism keeps getting misinterpreted. I'm not criticizing these construction projects because I want the government to stop building. I'm criticizing them because we want them to build high quality infrastructure, because high quality infrastructure saves lives, right? It becomes dangerous to drive on roads that are not properly designed, and we're beginning to see that, right? So I don't know who needs to hear or to be educated about this. The criticism is not about putting down, it's not even political. It is about quality and safety and pride. So this is what's happening here at the Jagan International Airport with the construction of the new Marriott hotel. As we come around to the front, it's the last turn around the building. Hopefully I can show you the full extent of the front entrance once I get there. But what we're saying is that hopefully by the time this entire airport terminal building, the new terminal building is completed and the new complex is refurbished, redesigned, renovated, the airport will meet international standards. The hotel, this Courtyard by Marriott, is a good start. This hotel meets international standards and probably will be impressive, similar to what you can find at other airports around the world. That is, hotels that are located near to airports. This hotel will probably be a 4-star hotel, or somewhere in that vicinity, a 3 or 4-star hotel, like all the Marriott hotels around the world, and represents a certain quality, right? Represents a certain experience for the traveler, both local travelers and international travelers here. And that is what we want to see continue, right? We want to see the same quality of design and execution of structures, whether it be a new airport terminal, whether it be the roads inside the airport complex, and all the infrastructure that goes with the modern Guyana, right? So I don't know how this channel keeps attracting people who are not intelligent enough to understand what I'm saying, but it is completely frustrating when, you know, I get some really stupid comments about the videos that seem to be interpreting my criticism as something political, as if I'm basically using the channel to run a political campaign. That is not what this is about. Like I said, I have absolutely no interest. I don't think politicians are the smartest people. As you can see what's happening in the US right now, what's happened is we've turned over politics to the least intelligent among us. And that's been happening for the last 20 years, 25 years in the US, and beginning to see the result of having people who are not very intelligent running an entire country. And we also have that problem here in Guyana. But the people who are smart know how to do things and know how to demand and how to get around the unintelligent people in our society. So the whole point is to find a way around the ignorance and the bad decisions, right? The decisions that are being made in the country that make life difficult, literally make life dangerous. There are people dying. There's a mother with 3 children who died in an accident who should have lived if there had been proper planning and proper designs of the roads in Guyana, right? So that's where the criticism is coming from. But right now we're approaching the front of the building. That is the front entrance of the Courtyard Marriott here at Timehri International Airport, Cheddi Jagan International Airport. You can see the full extent of the building. Now you can see what the final colors will be. You can see from the left side of the screen there, the top of the building has been painted in the shade of beige that was first presented on the poster. All right, the first billboard that presented this, hotel showed the colors, and as you can see from this view, the top right, the top left shows the colors, the final colors of the building. This is what the entrance will look like. You can see there is a grand covering of the front entrance. There is a parking lot, so the front parking lots, this is the fence under construction, and the guard hut at the entrance, those are under construction. And you can see the driveways and the circular driveway leading up to the front entrance of the building. Right, the pavilion at the front has been completed. So the structure of the building has finally been rendered complete, and I expect the finishing touches to be completed over the next several months, perhaps early in 2025. But that's what I think, guys.